2019 means that we are in the year of the first brand new Generation 8 Pokemon title and the first new mainline Pokemon RPG on a home console. Since Pokemon Switch will by no doubt be the biggest and most anticipated title of the year, closely followed by Animal Crossing, and if it is slated for this year, Metroid Prime 4. Now we all know that the core Pokemon RPG is most likely dropping this November and will be Nintendo's big holiday seller, but when will it be revealed?
That is the question we will go deep into this episode of Inside Pokemon Switch, so make sure to give it a big like, and if you're new, subscribe and press that shiny notification bell to not miss any future episode of this series, as Pokemon Switch is back for fall, and the same goes with our British narrator Liam.
Well, it's been a while, but after the launch of Pokemon Let's Go well behind us, it's time to get into the juicy meat that is the core Pokemon Switch RPG Generation 8 title for Nintendo Switch. And as with all things, we begin with a solid, in-depth introduction as to when we can expect the title to be revealed, which might be way sooner than you think. But first, a little context. The confirmation that a Pokemon Switch RPG for Nintendo Switch is under development came at E3 2017. From the president of the Pokemon Company himself, Tsunekazu Ishihara-san. Game Freak has begun development on a core Pokemon RPG title for Nintendo Switch. It may not release for more than a year, but we hope you look forward to it all the same. Since then, this core Pokemon RPG title has been among the most anticipated Switch titles, but in contrast to titles like Metroid Prime 4, we have no idea what kind of game this will be, what the setting will be, and what gameplay to expect. We will go over these in future episodes. But for now, we can simply state that the Pokemon Switch hype train was moving at an immense pace in 2018, until it met a major halt with the reveal of Pokemon Let's Go, and the confirmation that the new adventure will first premiere in 2019.
So here we are in 2019, and still we have to wait for the reveal in May or June, right? If we were to follow the reveals of Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon and Pokemon Let's Go, then this would be correct, as the former was revealed in a separate Pokemon Direct a few days prior to E3 2017, while the latter was unveiled in a massive presentation last May in Japan. These two close to E3 reveals mean that we still have some time to wait, but there is something else, as May and June are indeed used as reveal months by the Pokemon Company for their games, just not for brand new generation titles on the Nintendo 3DS. Then wait, does it mean that Pokemon games are revealed at different points in the year depending on whether they launch the first new title in a new generation? Yes, since if there is one thing the reveal of Ultra Sun and Moon and Pokemon Let's Go had in common with the remake of Ruby and Sapphire, then it was that they were all revealed in May and the beginning of June. If this isn't interesting enough, then look at how these reveals contrast to the reveals of Generation 6 and 7 on the Nintendo 3DS.
Generation 6 Pokemon X and Y was revealed by former president of Nintendo Satoru Iwata-san during the first Nintendo Direct of 2013, January 8 to be precise, and was the first Pokemon title to be revealed in a dedicated Pokemon Direct. The reveal of Generation 7, Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon was on the same day as the 20th anniversary of the release of Pokemon Red and Green in Japan, and took place for a dedicated Pokemon Direct on February 27, 2016. However, following Satoru Iwata's tragic passing in 2015, this reveal was headed by the president of the Pokemon Company, Tsunekazu Ishihara. The February 2016 Pokemon Direct was also the last Pokemon Direct to take place until the June 2017 Pokemon Direct, which is the last Pokemon dedicated Nintendo Direct up to date.
Okay, so as of the Winter Pokemon title reveals, we have two brand new mainline titles that were both revealed in dedicated Pokemon Directs. Now it can be argued that the reveal of Pokemon Sun and Moon was deliberately held on February 27th to take place on the 20th anniversary, and would otherwise take place in January, as was the case with Pokemon X and Y. However, we should not overthink this. On the other hand, what deserves our attention is the fact that both of these reveals took place during winter for a very important reason: marketing. The Pokemon Company are experts when it comes to marketing and setting up campaigns of trailers and teasers throughout the release year of a brand new generation. This was the case for Pokemon X and Y and Pokemon Sun and Moon, and it will certainly be the case for Pokemon Generation 8. So, how much time is needed to promote a brand new mainline Pokemon title prior to release? According to the Pokemon Company since 2013, at least 10 plus months. That would indicate that the latest possible reveal of Pokemon Switch would be in March, with release in December. But if we are to stick to the November launches that have been the release stable for all major Pokemon releases since Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, then the safest bet will be that Pokemon Switch, and with it the new Generation 8 region, will be revealed in either the next few weeks or January or sometime in February.
Now, we all know that a Nintendo Direct might be hosted on January 10th, and if it has taken place and Pokemon Switch wasn't revealed there, then we have to bring up another argument that can help us determine when the game will come out. Namely, the relationship between the Pokemon Company and Game Freak and Nintendo. Nintendo doesn't own Game Freak or the Pokemon Company. Instead, they publish their games as exclusive titles for their systems. In other words, Game Freak titles are not first-party Nintendo games, but rather second-party games developed by an independent developer, but with which Nintendo has a contract of exclusivity or substantial share stake. Before Game Freak and the Pokemon Company, Nintendo had a similar relationship with Rareware, only that in the 90s, Nintendo owned 49% of the stocks in the British developer. Nevertheless, there are also differences when it comes to second-party developers, since WareHowl Laboratory and Intelligent Systems promote their games only through Nintendo marketing, the Pokemon Company, and with it Game Freak, has a mind of their own. And by that, we mean that they often hold reveals away from regular Nintendo Directs, or even Nintendo's E3 presentations.
Perfect examples here are the reveals of Pokemon X and Y, Pokemon Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun and Moon, and of course Pokemon Let's Go. After all, if this was up to Nintendo, they would have at least revealed Pokemon Let's Go in their otherwise first-party reveal-lacking E3 2018 Nintendo Direct. Being aware of the state of business, it is very likely that the Pokemon Company wishes to reveal their first new Generation 8 Pokemon title for Nintendo Switch outside of a possible January Nintendo Direct, if this one turns out to be a regular presentation with a long line of games. Game Freak and the Pokemon Company demand exclusivity, and that means that the most likely and only way for the Pokemon Switch RPG to be revealed is in a Nintendo Direct on January 10th. This would indicate that this Direct is likely to be primarily Pokemon focused.
With this in mind, I guess we all prefer a regular Nintendo Direct in January, followed by a Pokemon dedicated Direct to reveal Pokemon Switch sometime later in, say, February or March. But when exactly? The end of January, as was the case for Pokemon X and Y, or February, as what was the case with Pokemon Sun and Moon. That is hard to point out, but based on what we have been able to assemble from this video, it appears that sometime between January 20th and February 27th seems to be likely spots for a reveal of the game if we don't get a dedicated Pokemon Direct instead of a regular Nintendo Direct on January 10th. It might just be like with Nintendo Labo last year, when Nintendo decided to host a 15-minute long mini direct in January, and then in February revealed Labo for a regular YouTube video to keep it away from the first regular Nintendo Direct of the year in March. So perhaps if we don't get any directs in January, the Pokemon Company could reveal and tease Pokemon Switch in February, and then give a solid first trailer during a March Direct. It could be the case.
Overall, it appears that the reveal of Pokemon Switch will take place at a sooner point than what was the case for Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon and Let's Go, seeing that this is a brand new game in a brand new generation for a brand new system. Now, before we move over to what the next episode will be about, we want to inform you that we need your help now more than ever on patreon.com/commonrealm in order to keep several of our video series alive after many current supporters, due to financial matters, had to pull their pledges for 2019. And in some cases, these have been so big that half of the support we had coming into this year is now gone. It goes without saying that to have writing, voicing, and editing talent is not free. And we need your support now at the beginning of the year when YouTube revenue drops significantly because of less ad money from advertisers.
Without enough revenue, we have to shut down multiple shows covering several franchises, and Patreon pledges are the only way to keep this alive and finance long-term video series and quality passion projects forward. So please, if you can, join one of the tiers on patreon.com/commonrealm for access to our once again Patreon exclusive podcasts, proof of support pins, having your name displayed at the end of videos, early access to our crowd-funded productions, and way more. And if you're not able to back us through patreon.com/commonrealm, then we will greatly appreciate if you like this video, and if you're new, subscribe to the Commonwealth Realm, press that shiny notification bell for all notifications, or follow us on twitter.com/commonrealm, as it helps more than you think.
Now, since you sat through those messages, you deserve to know that Inside Pokemon Switch is back with a brand new season, and will go on all the way to the release of the game. Though obviously, we will rename it as soon as we have the official title for the game. As for the next episode, we are going to give you the following choices. Do you want us to go over the scale and ambition of the game, or the province Pokemon Switch will be set in? Write down your vote in the comment section down below. Until the next video, this was Conrad, Joseph, and Leo of the Commonwealth Realm, and we will see you in the next episode.